10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Chapter systems are offline.
Welcome to the Banter Club. Join myself, Mark, along with TY, Jackie, and Mahal as we talk all things sport. We will definitely trash your team, and if you don't like it, we'll definitely tell you your favorite footballer is a tax evader. Join us every week on the Banter Club.
Are we really doing this?
Of course, we are, definitely.
All right, welcome to it, ladies and gentlemen. It is the Banter Club. We are back, episode 19 of the Banter Club. Thank you very much for joining us. Please don't forget, subscribe, like, and as our glassed friend loves to say, tell your grandmother. We are officially 19 episodes in. It's been such a beautiful journey. But right about now, though, I need to introduce the banters that are with me today. I'm with Mahal. Mahal, how you doing, man?
I'm well. How are you, Tuai?
Amazing. Una, how you doing?
I'm doing great, my brother. It's a historic week. If you're wondering what I'm talking about COSAFA Cup. Of course not. Champions League.
Jackie, please rain on this man's parade.
Yeah. What's that? As much as I'm not strong enough today, it was a favor on Saturday. That's what all I can say for now.
We're still doing the greetings, Jackie. Don't forget.
Emmanuel, can we do more important things? Bafana is winning here. Chiefs is not even an issue now.
Do you even know the coach of Bafana for COSAFA Cup?
It doesn't matter.
The one who was oh, that's that's nice.
Morena.
Yeah, Morena. He's the current assistant coach right now. Yeah.
Have you
But
seen
where
that
is
man
the
before?
coach?
No.
Last time I checked, Hammond tested positive, I think, for COVID, right?
Yeah.
So he had to self-isolate, and the assistant coach from Belgium, I think, will also went back to his home country because he had to get the second jab for COVID, and Hugo is working from home.
How are you a soccer coach and you're working from home?
Over via Zoom, guys. It's the new norm.
You reminded me of that joke where they're saying but again, domestic workers are also working from home. Pretty much what Hugo Bruce is doing. The distinction there.
But
you can read between the lines what I'm trying to say.
But guys, apparently, TY.
Yeah.
Apparently, his contract started today.
Oh.
So
what do you started today?
Look, yes, he was appointed as the Bafana Bafana head coach, but his contract starts today, 15th July. That's how things looks like. So he'll start his job immediately after the COSAFA Cup. I think in preparation of the World Cup.
So tell
qualifier.
Me, the whole time they said they're busy with this work permit. How were they busy with the work permit if there was no contract in place?
I also don't get it.
Just to also add on what I want to say. Are you okay, Sharp? Are you telling me that the assistant coach signed a contract before the actual coach?
In essence.
Which doesn't make sense to me.
Again, it's still confusing because there are issues saying that he hasn't been paid. So, hence I'm saying that his starts today, July.
To be quite honest with you guys, we're still doing the greetings, but to be quite honest with you guys, Danny Jordan needs to get his house in order and stop sending so many congratulations messages to Kaizer Chiefs. What loses that day, man?
Point.
That's the whole point.
There's no way you can explain the Bafana coach being announced in May and his contract only starting now in July.
It doesn't make sense.
Because I think this whole thing is to avoid the issue of why isn't he part of the COSAFA Cup?
So all these excuses they've been giving us, that he went home to get vaccine, that he went home to fix his work permit and whatnot. What was that about?
Unless if Mohau is saying it this way, maybe they had a verbal agreement, which to me, if you're a professional federation, doesn't make sense. They had a verbal agreement with the coach, and then the coach said, "Oh, fine, this is how it's going to be." But now is this. Now I have to be a lawyer. Why would you want? Why would a professional federation have a verbal agreement with the national coach, and then decide that an assistant coach must come to South Africa to coach the team? Because remember, Hugo said that the assistant coach is going to be working with Herman for those two friendlies. That's the first thing I remember. And they said that they're also going to be part of the COSAFA Cup. So my understanding, I thought that he signed a contract when they announced him as a coach, and then negotiated with SAFA that can he only start preparing the side in July. You get me? That was going to make sense. But now, the issue that I have is that, and which is going to cause problems, is that the verbal agreement, guys, as much as we're in law, it's working, they enforceable. That you're dealing with a coach that is a lot of thousands. I won't mention the specific amount. A lot of thousands, and which needs a written contract.
Yes.
So you need to be very careful in the way in which you're trying to enforce, because you may tomorrow decide that, okay, fine, I agreed with you guys this way, but there is no official document to support that. You understand me? So there's a lot of things that Buddy I think, like what Una says, that person who calls off or the shortcut, man. Or the shortcut.
Can I read here? I just quickly did a search on Sowetan. I see on Sowetan Live they're actually talking about what we're talking about right now. It says that we said after, this is a quote from the SAFA CFO, the Mtlante. He's quoted as saying, "We said after getting the second jab, he would come back to South Africa, and that will happen once the borders were open that side of the Netherlands to allow him into the country. That's when his contract will officially commence." I'm going to quickly scroll down to another part where the CEO, not the CFO, is quoted. It is said here that they agreed that the first time he comes, he's going to sign the contract, and then the second time, that's when his contract officially commences. So I guess that sort of like makes sense to me. Because you would be paying someone who's sitting in Netherlands without knowing when the borders will be open for him to come back. So, Jack, right, he's working from home. The domestic workers working from home.
But my question is, why then, if this whole thing, why didn't you just kept it a secret and continue with Coach Mkelele as the caretaker coach while you're still finalizing this whole thing of Hugo Bros, and then during this month, that's when you announce to say that, okay, now we have the new Bafana Bafana coach.
That would have made better sense.
Does it mean that even
but at the same time,
the deadline now? That's the question.
It will make sense, but at the same time, if we put it in context, it's remember the back and forth between Coach Mdifintseki and Safa about his contract. I think at that time it seemed like Safa were caught with their pants down, so they had to do something to show that the organization is still in place and they actually have their hands on the ball. So I think as a PR measure, they announced Coach Hugo Bruce even before his contract commences. I think it was more of a PR measure more than how can I call it? More than anything, really.
Yeah, no, I hear you. But how is Bafana doing for the COSAFA Cup? Still the only unbeaten team, correct?
Yeah.
How are they doing?
They're doing very well because they played.
Continue, Jackie.
4 games. They played 4 games. They scored. Is it 6 goals? 6 goals, and they have not didn't concede in those 4 games. And I realized that I think the third game, I don't know. I think they're playing against Lesotho. They won 4-0. That's what I scored in the first ever head Bafana player in the COSAFA Cup. So these youngsters have been doing very, very well. But again, for me, I don't really rate the COSAFA Cup, to be honest.
No one does.
I don't rate it. But the only good thing that you can take from this is that the exposure of young players going into the the qualifiers for the World Cup is gonna benefit Hugo Bruce. So I'm sure wherever he is right now, he's happy that something's actually happening. They can take something from that. But if you look at the tournament itself, I think the way they've been playing, it can potentially actually win the tournament.
Potentially,
my take with COSAFA. Okay, I'm going to make points about Bafana and also COSAFA. Let me start with COSAFA. I think COSAFA needs to relook the whole model of the tournament. It at this point in time, to me, does not make sense at all. I believe there's so much that can be done through regional football. And right now, just how do you even explain that Bafana played on Tuesday? They also played on Wednesday. How do you set a tournament like that? Well, they're not even thinking about the players. The players just came off from a season straight into this tournament. What about their hamstrings and all that? So my suggestion will be, I can have 2 suggestions about it. One of the suggestion will be, how about you do what there's an Arab Champions League. How about you take teams in the soccer clubs, actually, not the national teams. How about you take those teams from all the nations in COSAFA region, use this period as a preseason tournament to prepare it for the CAF Champions League. COSAFA teams don't really do well in the CAF Champions League. Besides Mamelodi Sundowns, we've seen in the past decade or so. Now and then Orlando Pirates, this season Kaizer Chiefs.
Miraculously, yes.
Township Rollers the other season. But how about we use COSAFA as a preseason tournament for teams that have qualified for the Champions League to actually help them prepare, playing against each other as different teams from different countries. Another suggestion for me would be, how about we use COSAFA as preparation for, say, use maybe the whole CAF qualification thing should change for AFCON. How about we say they become regional? Because when you look at the AFCON, usually you find West African teams and also North African teams. Southern African teams are in shortage. How about we get CAF to actually reconfigure everything and say, use the regional tournaments to as qualifiers for AFCON. That's my suggestion for COSAFA. If anyone wants to add on to that, can come in.
No, I agree with you, but then the teams are going to come and say, when do we rest? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The teams are going to come and say, when do we rest?
If you treat it like a preseason tournament, you don't have to be directly straight after the the season. It's towards the new season.
Yes, I hear you. No, I agree with you there. Actually, that'd actually be great. A preseason tournament, with just the COSAFA teams.
Yes.
You know, maybe the teams that won the league, or the top 3 teams, the top 4 teams from each country, they come together for 2 weeks, play in a bubble or whatever. That's actually genius, man. That actually work. Jackie, what are you thinking about this?
I hear Una, but now I don't think a tournament like this, unless if they continue with the same format, national teams and club teams, and continue the same format, that could possibly work. But now, remember, some of those teams don't have active leagues. For example, look at a team like thingy. Look at a league like Lesotho or Botswana. They're in quite a long time there. So how are they going to compete? You understand me?
Yeah.
So I think it's more of they need to first fix the domestic leagues, make it a little competitive.
Yeah.
Don't you think that this would sort of be a motivating factor to those nations or those leagues to actually say, yes, you might not make it in the Champions League because it's much stronger. Maybe if you can make it in the COSAFA Champions League, whatever, it can be a motivating factor to get their houses in order so that they can compete in this, because it's right there in their doorstep.
Yeah, I think it would work.
Yeah,
it would work. We just need to just get the teams dedicated and actually just get someone to actually do something. And I mean, COSAFA Cup is not every year. So if we were to do
it's
every year.
Serious?
Every year, and Imam Zanzi every year. I don't understand. Like,
yeah, but the great,
like, can we go on an adventure? Let's go to Mauritius somewhere.
We have the facilities. Chief.
Una, your idea came earlier, but I think, yeah, Mahal, you can go.
Go for it, Mahal.
Well, I don't think I support these young clubs. Just like Jackie said, I think it's going to benefit South Africa because, I mean, maybe Zambia, if we see the teams making through. But I think the national teams need it the most. Remember, this would be the best preparation for the World Cup qualifier, the best preparation for AFCON qualifier. And we need those Southern African countries to do better. And I think which better
are you saying
use than to utilize COSAFA Cup? And by this means that yes, Una is right that they have to restructure this whole thing, because I mean you cannot play game and then tomorrow you play another game, and as much as this country needs, because I mean look, let's be honest, how many times do national teams get to play?
So are you saying that
qualifier, and before the qualifier you need to play at least 2 or 3 friendly games? That's if you have won when it comes to the negotiation of those friendly games. Apart from that is the CAF AFCON qualifier or the World Cup qualifier, and then if you make it, that's when you go through to play the World Cup or the African Cup of Nations.
That's why I'm saying that if we keeping it as a national team tournament, how about we make a request to CAF saying that can we reconfigure the under 20 AFCON and the under 23 AFCON? The qualifiers are structured as it's regional. You have the southern region, the central, the eastern, the western, and the northern. They play their qualifiers, and then all those regions are better represented at the AFCON. So how about even the senior national team AFCON get reconfigured, because we can't have Ghana, Nigeria, Guinea-Bissau, and all those teams taking up AFCON. In Southern Africa, you only have 2 nations. COSAFA might actually, if they make that request to CAF, might actually help the region. You might even have Mozambique playing in the AFCON.
Oh, no, I hear you, but my thing is with making it regional, the biggest problem we're going to have is that the same teams are going to qualify. Bafana Bafana is always going to be qualifying. And then you're going to have
the one that loses to Sao Tamo.
Chance.
I mean, Zambia is also going to qualify. We're going to have the same 2-3 teams qualifying all the time.
Over the years, we've noticed how COSAFA actually helped some nations. The season, the year that Dex, before he messed up Kaizer Chiefs, transferred.
Ramandarana.
The season that he COSAFA and he won the best player of the tournament. His nation was actually the year before. They actually had a whole plan on how they're going to take on COSAFA the following year, and they actually made it all the way to the semi-finals. If I'm not wrong, they even made it third that season. So these teams are actually growing over the years. So you might even find a point where Bafana even doesn't become champions or in the top 3.
Accurate, but I just think, look, COSAFA for me, honestly speaking, for a team like Bafana, the team that's playing right now, is it going to play in the World Cup qualifiers? Maybe 1 or 2 players.
I don't get how we have an under-23 team that is not... if there's a plan, the under-23 will feed into Bafana. But in South Africa, you find that there's a COSAFA squad, there's a Chen squad, there's Bafana, the main team, there's under-23, there's under-20, and those teams, there's no link in between, which I don't understand. You have coach, the bias coach for under-23. You know why I'm saying the biased. You know, it's from that yellow room in Tembisa. Yes, that's easy. So he selected 50 players for the Olympics. He selected 50 players. He needs to get 23 out of that 50 group of 50. How about getting the 23 to go to the Olympics, and the rest of that group, since it's the under 23 squad, they should have been the people playing in the COSAFA right now. Preparing them to go to you have a Veli Motwa who's 30 years old making a debut in the COSAFA as a captain. How does that make sense?
It doesn't make sense. But that's why we're saying the Bafana structures as a whole in are messed up from top to bottom. At Safa House is a mess. We need to take that building apart, rip it apart, fire some people, get rid of that guy from Ebeja, and start from scratch.
That ball looks nice there by Safa House.
No, get rid of it. Get a brand new one. We definitely need a new one. And then let's quickly talk about
the statue Santo. Statue Senzo Miyu. COSAFA House.
Does anything ever work at Safa House?
Before we end before we end this topic about Bafana, I mean COSAFA Cup. Mara guys, and I agree with Ona, this thing is not competitive. Look at this. Bafana won it in 2018. They won it in 2018. And at this rate, they're about to win it again. Then Zambia won it in 2019. Okay, there was no 2020 edition of the tournament. But the way it looks, it seems as if Bafana is going to win it again this year. And if you look at all-time wise, Zambia have won 11 COSAFA Cups and South Africa has won 8.
Yeah. So it's the same two teams.
And the same two teams. It tells you Zimbabwe has won like 6 times. I think unless they do it this way, they look at the thingy. They look at those teams that don't have competitive leagues. Ne? Bible place it into a specific tournament to give them competition, and then teams like South Africa and Zambia and Zimbabwe, in terms of the COSAFA region, are probably seeded teams that are already up there, and then your Lesotho, your Botswana, your Madagascar, and Malawi, and so forth, they play in that cup. And then the top 2 teams from there compete with Zambia, Bafana, and Zimbabwe, and whoever. Then you choose the top 3 teams from the COSAFA region, and they then will compete, maybe potentially in the AFCON. That could work. You understand me? And then it will create a lot of competition for SAFA region. But now the issue I have with Club One is that you're gonna find that teams from Africa, for example, are always going to be the one. For example, I think Otono Wana Sundowns is playing to win at that tournament because they already have reached that level. They are competition, and right now we won't even need to even bring the best team from the league. Instead, we'll probably use the MDC. So they can either maybe approach it this way. What is this thingy? The multi-choice disc challenge, for example. Teams from there. COSAFA can then let's try and introduce working a league, ne? Or a competition just for working for the youth academies in the country, in the region. Maybe continental perform in the region, and then also create a Champions League for maybe under 23s or under 22s, just to create more competition. If they try and create such a structure, it will develop in the region, SAFA. That probably can work. Let's try and compete with big teams like Mamelodi Sundowns. It's going to be very difficult. But I think they should use it more as a development structure in the COSAFA region than something else.
No, I hear you. Hi, it's a tricky one, man. But I think definitely up until SAFA or COSAFA decides to look at it differently, it's never going to change, eh? Because I'm really disappointed in how COSAFA's being run.
Guys, before you move, the problem is the tournament is fine. I think the things that you need to blame, or people that you need to blame, probably have to be on the team side of things. So just because SAFA doesn't have its ducks on the road, don't blame the tournament. And just because other teams as well don't seem to perform and give teams, other countries which seems to be dominating on this tournament, that means that the tournament it's a flop. I don't think it's a flop or a problem, but I think it's a good tournament, especially for countries which are Southern African, so that it can give them more game time, more sort of a practice match to prepare themselves. I mean, after this, we have World Cup qualifier. If now these teams have played plus minus 5 games within the group stages, they can at least see 2, 3, 4, or 5 players which they can use when it comes to the World Cup qualifier.
Yeah. No.
Okay, Mohau.
Yeah.
Are you telling me that you're going to call Victor Letswar to make a debut in Bafana right now for a qualifier, World Cup qualifier?
No, listen.
No, he's the top goal scorer of the tournament. Are you going to take him as a standout performer?
The problem is not the tournament. The problem is not the tournament, but the teams that are there. So the problem is not the tournament, but SAFA or Bafana Bafana as a whole. The tournament is fine.
SAFA makes sense.
As long as in SAFA, it's a problem.
It's gonna fail.
What does COSAFA stand for?
Confederation of Southern African Football Association, I'm assuming.
Association anymore.
It's the Council of South African Football Associations.
Let's SAFA. There's an issue.
No, man, I actually, to be on the real, COSAFA, it's a needed tournament, just as Mohau is saying. But from all the points that I'm gathering from all of us here is that it needs an introspection to actually make it more competitive. Yes, it can help the main national teams in qualifiers, but in terms of competitiveness right now, ukari ki nooit vir nooit.
That's what I'm saying.
Look, I know what I'm gonna say, and I agree with him, guys. It's a great platform. I get that, but if you look at the Champions League, only three teams from the COSAFA region have performed very, very well in the Champions League. So it tells you something, Warne. More needs to be done. You understand me? So
Definitely. Definitely
so,
more needs to be done, bro.
Yeah, so more needs to be done. You can't constantly have a tournament every single year and the result are always the same. Sundowns up there, Sundowns, and some teams by miraculously made it final this season, but it's always the same case every single season. You working only Mamelodi Sundowns or maybe only Pirates sometimes go to the Champions League or go to the Confederation Cup and actually perform. What happens to teams in Botswana? What happens to teams in Lesotho? What happens to teams in Zambia? Why don't they perform? So it tells you what fine. Maybe just to make it a little bit more competitive, just do something about it. And like what I said at the beginning, that if you look at the leagues, Botswana and Lesotho, they're not competitive. Sometimes they go months without playing. Maybe, like Una said, maybe create something just for them to actually get time for football and compete as preparation for big tournaments like the Champions League. You understand me? So Rena for teams in South Africa, it's not really a must. I think it's more of they just want to keep their fitness or keep preseason tournament for teams for Bafana Bafana players. But for teams like Lesotho, Botswana, Malawi, it's really, really important for them to actually compete because they're also looking for contracts in this big league in South Africa. So it's really, really important for them. But like I said, create something big, something that can actually create something that can actually push the teams to actually want more in the Champions League and potentially even going to Europe. But the current format for me is not improved. I think they also potentially differently this because I think the previous season, previous editions, they had I think 3-4 groups. This year they have 2 groups, Group A and Group B, 5 teams, and they have 5 teams per group. So they're trying something different. I think maybe it's because of COVID, I don't know, but maybe also bring in other teams from different provinces, different regions. You understand?
They do.
Because I think they do. They did. I think this is they brought Senegal. So maybe next time bring in Senegal, bring in Nigeria, just to test the level. Yeah, the tournament.
All right, now let's talk about the big one, gents. The big one this Saturday, we have the team of the century playing against some team from Nigeria there. Who's winning? Ahly, Kaizer Chiefs. I need score predictions. Please try and be as accurate as possible. Mahau, who's winning the Champions League this Saturday?
Obvious, Kaizer Chiefs, man.
Scoreline?
Well, listen, it's gonna be a history in the making. It's a history in the making. This game, you have one coach on the other side, wanting to win this. His third time, I believe, and then you have on the other side a team which wants to win it for the first time. And I mean, as much as we might disagree on this, guys, Chiefs should have been part of the other big 2 teams such as Sundowns and Orlando Pirates in a list, but because of whatever reason,
there's only other one big team, and it doesn't
have
a training field. It rents
we're trying to accommodate them, and I think this is big for, especially for Kaizer Chiefs, and we have seen it looking at, because I was actually watching a Twitter account here, CAF Champions League, and I think they are happy to see Chiefs go to final because it looks like Chiefs has a huge followers, sort of a marketing strategy, someone sharp, so on point, which I mean, if Chiefs was the team that won the CAF Champions League 2016 instead of Sundowns, even right now, Chiefs had won the star, the previous team. The reason being, when it comes to marketing their team, marketing their brand, Bapilavana strategy says on point. So, on the field, it's going to be a tough one. But I think just like other finals that we've witnessed, the UEFA Champions League finals, the Euro Champions League finals, any team that tends to make a mistake, just one simple mistake, they will regret, and then they will have to lose the trophy. And I think that team is likely to be Ahly.
Here's the prediction, and stop giving us lies here.
I'll go with a 1-0 win for Kaizer Chiefs.
Okay.
Lama trust ngizana na. But anyway,
100%. We even trust the grass. We even trust the grass.
On goal on Saturday ne ka wala. But anyway, on to Mr. Predict.
Let's come to you. What's your prediction?
You know me, I've been horrible when it comes to predictions, to be honest. I've been very, very... But before I give my prediction, I think it's a very tricky game, to be honest. It's a very, very tricky game because Chiefs, they're going into this final, not necessarily with a lot of pressure. Ahly have got a lot of pressure because they are the defending champions and they've won this tournament more than any other team. And they have a lot of experience in the Champions League. So they are on a lot. And if you look at the Chiefs side, they are on form right now. They haven't lost. I think it's in 4 games, in 4 games. And they've not conceded in the last 2 games. But the issue I have with Kaizer Chiefs is that they haven't seen any competitive games in quite a long time. So fitness-wise, that could also be a problem.
Yeah, because I like the league is still playing.
Exactly. And if you look at where they are playing, it's a very big stadium, very open. Hey, some players, but other problem, which will be great for me because it's good for us football fans. We want them to lose. Then if you look at the Ahly side, a team that has been very...
How many are you?
There's 17.
It's fine. Even if the fact remains, we wanted to lose. Then, if you look at Ahly's side, a team that's been scoring a lot of goals, Chiefs have been defending well. But looking at one of the most important thing about this game for me, and because it's a final, anything can happen. I think for me is going to be Pitso. Pitso, the way in which he's going to structure his team is going to be important because I was looking at the game, the second leg against Esperance. They got a red card early in that game, but they played exceptionally well. They ended up scoring, I think, 3 goals, So if you look at the Chiefs side, what's also going to be very important in their case is that how are they going to approach the game? Approach the same way they did against Wydad, where they were just very they were just defending throughout the entire game and waiting for a counter attack and just try and get a goal. Playing against a team against Ahly, it's very difficult because you can't defend the whole entire 90 minutes. It's going to be very, very tricky. But I'm going to repeat what I told Mohau and Sean in the previous episode where I said that whenever you play your first final in the Champions League initiation, you need to lose first in order for you to understand the tournament.
That's
you
only
can't
for small teams.
You can't win the first final. It's impossible. And just to remind you,
Pirates did it.
But that's Pirates on future. I remember
No, but that's why I'm saying it's only for small teams. The team that lost the final in 2001.
Okay.
We're gonna agree on one thing. Yeah?
Okay.
If Kaizer Chiefs loses on Saturday, from here onwards,
I'm not taking a bet. I can agree to scheme.
No need for that. No need for that. Are we in agreement? If Chiefs lose on Saturday, on this podcast, they're going to be known as a small team going forward. Because that's what small teams do.
Factually wrong.
I got a small team lose the first final. You just said that.
That would be factually wrong.
But you just said small teams lose the first final.
Why contradict?
You're contradicting yourself now.
No. Jackie mentioned that first final is an initiation. I mean, initiations are for small teams.
So if you get initiated this weekend,
I agree.
Okay.
The first time Kaizer Chiefs is in the Champions League final, not the first time in the final.
So if you get initiated this weekend, we are calling you a small team going forth.
Okay,
then that's simple.
How then? If we played Ahly in the Super Cup, ne?
You lost 4-1,
Brian Baloy Bamukurile from the other side, the other goalkeeper. Continue.
So what does that say about you?
Then that's the initiation you're talking about.
So you're a small team.
Now it's the time for us to win.
Okay, now let me go get
our first CAF final we won.
Okay.
Our second CAF final we lost. This is our third CAF final.
It's your third CAF final. Okay, Shab. Let me repeat my statement then. If you're playing, let me repeat. If you're playing your first CAF Champions League final, initiation. It's initiation. That's how it is. Chelsea know it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So even City, they know what final. Probably the next season they probably win the Champions League because now they understand how it works. But going to my prediction, I think Chiefs will score. Chiefs will score. Ne?
Nah,
but
never days. Who's gonna score?
Chiefs will score.
Castro.
Chiefs will score. But Aliou will score 2. It's gonna end 2-1. My prediction. I think Aliou will win 2-1.
Jakey, you don't want to admit or your blood is yellow, just a bit dark, honey.
Okay. Ladies, any prediction? Run like a prediction. Get story. Come this.
You know what's scary about this prediction? You know what's scary about this prediction? Una's never gotten a prediction wrong on this podcast. So this, except for the Porto Chelsea one. That's what scares me most. But
when Raja Casablanca, when their first CAF Champions League final, they won it. Orlando Pirates, they won it. Inyemba, they won it. ES Setif, they won it. JS Kabila, they won it. What do you call this? When there's a number of teams, man. So Jake's point of initiation, I break.
Okay, wait, before you continue, those teams, did they play against Ahly? I just want to clarify there.
The Champions League final of 2003 when Inyemba won it, it was an Egyptian team. I'm not sure if it was Ahly, but I know it was an Egyptian team. When Wydad, they played their first Champions League final in 1992, it was against Al Hilal. I'm trying to find the final where there was Al Ahly and they lost, and it was the first one for a team.
I've got enough time. 2007, okay.
2007. No, it was not. It was not the first final for the Tunisian team. 1983 when Asante Kotoko won it.
When on this poor podcast was born in.
Respect the Banter Club. Respect the Banter Club FC because since when was Pirates born? Founded? The Banter Club has won more trophies than Pirates since its inception. So respect.
You know what? Yeah.
Back to my
such violence. Such violence.
Back to my prediction. This is going to be a very interesting final. It will be the Kings versus the Pharaohs. The Kirikushi, Amakus. So my prediction. Before I make the prediction, there's a Malian midfielder there. What's his name, Jackie? The DM of Al Ahly.
Ghana.
I see what you're talking
about.
Yeah. That's the man to watch from the Al Ahly side, and that's the one man that I fear the most. Everything plays through him. Everything happens through him. He destroys, he wins the balls, he knows how to pass, the rhythm of the whole team. So if we can manage to close down that man, I think we stand a very better chance of actually taking it. Al-Ahly is very fragile at the back. Actually, all Northern African teams are very fragile at the back. You can quote me on that.
Okay.
They tend to attack in numbers, and when they attack in numbers, they get exposed at the back. They don't leave a fine line like we do here in Southern Africa. When we attack in numbers, we also still have runners who go back and still maintain a three backline or a 4 backline. So they leave 2 players at the back, which is very easy. If Kaizer Chiefs actually utilize that as an opportunity, I know Baxter is very good in that, playing in phases, and actually, what do you call it? He has a phrase for it. He said he introduced it to South African football, which I think is not true, but he actually perfected it. So if we can actually do that when they attack us in numbers, we absorb them and actually attack them at that very moment, it's a 2-1 win for Kaizer Chiefs.
Okay, I hear you. But I want to ask a question. The Pitso Factor, because Pitso knows Chiefs. Ne? Pitso knows, because okay, sharp. Got the previous, got the semi-final. I understand you guys were playing against a wider side who doesn't really know Kaizer Chiefs that much, and their coach has been there for so long. Kaizer Chiefs, but you're going against King and Alalisa that is led by a guy that has been playing against Kaizer Chiefs for so long. So you understand the players. This is practically the same as the Chiefs that he took the lead from the last game of the season, the previous season. Do you think he's going to play a big role? Do you also think he's going to approach the game like what he did with Esperance in the semi-final? Because all the points that you mentioned, I hear them, but don't you think that Pitso is aware of problems? He might a little bit just to make sure fine we fill those gaps and potentially just surprise Kaizer Chiefs.
My thinking is that the way Pitso approaches this game will actually determine how the whole game is going to go. If Pitso comes in a more emotional state that we tend to know him sometimes, Kaizer Chiefs stands a very big chance. But if Pitso focuses on how dominant Al-Ahly has been in the past 10 games and bring that factor into this game, I won't admit it, but it looks a bit dark for my team. I think also, Jackie, when you were doing your prediction, you mentioned the issue of fatigue and all that. I think that also can play into the results of the game. If Pitso actually used that in his favor, that Kaizer Chiefs haven't played in 17 days. Is it 17 days? Yeah, 17 days.
That's a long time.
Yeah, it's a very long time in football, actually. If he can use that in his favor of actually fielding players and actually having a game plan that actually attacks Kaizer Chiefs and getting Kaizer Chiefs to get tired on their feet, then Al-Ahly stands a big chance. In terms of historical results of Pitso versus Kaizer Chiefs, Pitso versus Baxter, when Pitso plays against Kaizer Chiefs, his last few games, he would throw a punch and then peck it.
But that's Pitso's style of play, though.
Now, the very interesting part, the type of personnel that Kaizer Chiefs have, they cannot attack a bus.
True.
So that too can work against Kaizer Chiefs. Unless Kaizer Chiefs, Pitso himself said it, Kaizer Chiefs is a very mysterious team. Unless we structure the game in phases. We structure it in 3 phases. Get settled in the first 30 minutes. throw everything in the next 30 minutes. This is just before halftime and straight after halftime. And then the last 30 minutes, you consolidate the game. There's two ways to consolidate the game. You throw the game to the other team or you defend. So if Kaizer Chiefs first get themselves settled, maybe start with the team that actually played in the semi-final. Start with that team in the first phase, also in the half of the second phase. In the other half of the second phase, now bring in the Manyamas. Bring in, I know Billiard is going to have a late fitness test tomorrow. Bring in the Billiards to actually run at Ahly, get a goal, and then try to structure it in a way that Ahly, here is the ball, but don't get them right in front of you. I think is a Chiefs game.
27 August 2020. It's a game.
You know when Kaizer Chiefs won the Super Cup, nearly Mandela Cup, Anker. This final is playing a day before Mandela's birthday. It's about time we give him another tribute.
Yeah, no, we're finding all the superstitions.
That's my last contribution about this game.
Oh, how your last contribution?
Yeah, Chiefs is winning.
Guys, let me give you my score prediction, and I want you to take this to heart. First half, 1-0.
How many?
I'm giving it to. I got one of the phases. I'm giving it to you in phases. First 30 minutes, 1-0. The next thing, the final 30, he puts in 3 quick ones, quick fast. In the last 30 minutes, 4-0. We were high. Have a good night. Or
11.
Game makers feeling 11. But it's gonna finish. No, Chiefs not scoring. Chiefs not seeing nothing. Chiefs not even gonna breathe in that game. What about now?
You know, you remember how Real Madrid used to play? They get the ball in the middle, they take it out to the wingers, they cross the ball in. Ahly plays the same. And they actually utilize the left-hand side the most. Is it which side is Riff Forstler? Yeah, the Riff Forstler side. The Riff Forstler side, they actually utilize that side the most in their attacks. So if we actually come with a 3-5, is it a 3-5-2? We can actually break Ahly's attack, because if you have Ngezana playing with the Riff Forstler on the same side, and Ngezana actually guiding Forstler on how to go about his game, because I know Ngezana is very brave and is very vocal. We break that attack of Ahly on the left-hand side. The 4 goals you're talking about won't happen.
No, we'll see. But gents, we need to wrap up the conversation real quick before we jump Iskati, before we run over time. Closing words from you there, Ona?
Closing words from me is Safa needs to get their house in order, and Kaizer Chiefs, you did well. Whether you win this or not, you actually did yourselves a favor. And Katsande, Kadoso, Kikupa, even last game before Bona. Thank you, Kaleboha. Tell your grandmother.
Didn't Katsande just sign a brand new contract?
Ki 1 month.
We won. Jackie, what are your closing words, man?
I want to know, the only South African that deserves a Champions League title is Pitso Factor. That's what I can see. This thing where a certain team must get a Champions League is not good for football. We want to sleep peacefully over the weekend, and the son of the soil, Pitso Factor, my coach, must do us a favor. And man, guys, we were winning.
And then far away, our colonizers, they said football is coming home. It's good for football.
It's the same that you guys are saying,
I don't need to remind you what happened to them.
Yeah, but you guys are also saying the same thing.
That you're doing it for Mandela.
Been the case. Hey, doing it for
Mandela, and South Africa really needs something for peace, for love and peace right now.
We didn't ask you.
So we need.
Y'all are gonna
Chiefs-
choke, but I have a feeling that you guys are gonna choke. I feel like y'all are gonna choke. I just have a feeling where y'all are gonna choke. I don't know why I'm gonna, but I've been praying for the past 2 weeks, 12 for a reason.
Yo,
Must understand
deep.
what I've been
That is
praying.
that's very deep. That's very deep, Chief. Yeah, that's very deep.
Oh yeah, before Muhao say something, before Muhao say something, and shout out to Downs for signing Thabiso Gutrimela.
What? When did that happen?
It was officially announced today. Okay, reports are saying that, suggesting that Zanners have signed Thabiso Gutrimela.
Yo, I think midfield is gonna be a mess. That midfield is gonna be
Player
crazy.
number 51.
52. And in counting,
no wonder the Mtipe Foundation is very active. It's an NGO. We understand.
Oh wow! And there are 2 more players coming. But anyway,
who?
Like I said, it's an NGO. We understand.
One player, okay, 2 players from our nearest rival. I think that should.
You have a rival. Okay.
Nearest rival, Supersport United.
Supersport.
Okay, rival.
Una, please respect us. What are you flipping saying, man?
Can I say my final words?
Go for it, Mahal.
Okay, before I say my final words, can the PSL man fix this issue, man? I mean, right now, for sure, teams should have known which 5 games are they playing against. I mean, you have teams preparing themselves, and without knowing what are you preparing for, who are you preparing against. You have teams which are not sure whether to print T-shirts or a team which I surely honor win the league, like Africa Championship, and we're hearing absolutely nothing from the PSL. This is disappointing. And lastly, my last words. We waited 51 years for this. May the football gods be upon the Amakhosi, the Perfect Glamour Boys, Bafana Bafana, and may they come back with a trophy on the 17th of July. And yeah, hopefully Balenda Oratambo, the nation will it'll create peace, man. We've been through a lot, especially the past few days,
I think
on that same topic, I know I said I made my last contribution on that same topic. Here at the Banter Club, we do discourage any form of violence. Also, we do note that this might come from a place of need, a place of hunger and all sorts of things. But when it comes to criminality and violence, we do discourage that from the Banter Club SA.
No, that's great. Well put. You may finish?
Yep.
Are you there?
Yeah.
One more thing before. Probably one
Jackie
minute.
was saying. Jackie, I've said.
Get card.
Documented
statement. Muhao. And Muhao and I know you guys said about working. Looting is a criminal offense. That's why the football gods wouldn't want Chiefs to loot by winning the Champions League because that would be a criminal offense. You understand me? Let's be consistent, Obon.
Let's keep the consistency.
Let's keep the consistency. Let's not
follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, WhatsApp, and YouTube.
If we're being honest, and what's his name? Chikatwala and Yvonne Chaka are recording a song for peace right now. I feel like that song is going to do much more for peace in this country than Chiefs winning that thing. And that song has no hope. We at the Banter Club don't condone violence. Even though Ona came with nothing but violence today, we don't condone it. Please, let's try and stay safe. And, let's respect the economy. Let's respect people's businesses because so many people are losing so much right now. So let's put some respect on that. But with that said, please don't forget to like, subscribe. Button, you hit the the like button, the subscribe button, and all of that chandis. If you want to hit us up, our WhatsApp line goes as follows. It is, if you're outside of South Africa, 064 900 947. That's 064 900 947. So do hit us up and chat with us. Send us voice notes. We're going to be on the podcast. Hopefully in episode 20, your voice note is going to be on the podcast. Gents, thank you very much for joining me. It's been a pleasure to be here. I missed you, Gents. It's a wrap.
Can we just love and peace?
Tell your grandmother.
Join us every week on the Banter Club.